I started composing at a very young age, and for me, I really felt I had something to say. I think as a composer, you think, have I have I got something within myself that I've got to say, and I felt I did, but when I went to university, it was a kind of period in classical music and choral music where the language was very complex, and it wasn't my kind of language. My language has always been a tonal language. I've always had that desire to communicate with singers. So I wanted to write music that people could sing. It took me to the age of 42 till I actually found the means to make it work for me. I had to go round in a great big circle to come back to the place where I thought I might have been age 25, which I wasn't actually. I had to have that experience of performing and also working with people and seeing how singing impacts on people's lives. I'd lived in this bubble of being in a very, very fine choir, King's College, Cambridge. You thought, well, of course, everyone sings like that, which they don't. So I had to discover this world of singing, which actually has become a real mission for me now, because I understand that sense of what it is, that the power that singing can give people, and that's important for me. I find points of access are very important. How do you draw people into wanting to sing something? Text is a big factor in motivating people to think about ideas. For me, the important thing about being a composer is to work out the fundamentally, how are you going to get the music written? And I always say to people, if you want to compose, make sure that you sit down every day and that you do it for, even if it's just half an hour a day, sit down and do it every day. Now, I sit down for 8 hours every day. I do office hours. I need to do that every day because the thought processes need that familiarity of time. Some days I find I don't write a thing, and I sit there in total frustration. Other days I write a lot. So I think the discipline of composing is very important. The thing that I probably hadn't thought about when I wanted to be a composer was that how through your music you do make yourself very, very vulnerable. There's a beauty in that, but at the same time it can be very difficult. As a creative person in any way, you have to go through that process of being really comfortable in your own skin with who you are. And that can be very challenging because at different times in our life, we all want to be something we're not. Or we all want to be, I wish I was like that. And coming to terms with who you are as a creative person is something it's a big journey, actually. It's totally okay to fail. And we live in a society where failure is not seen as being something positive. I had a beautiful experience recently where I made a program for the BBC radio about the Fauré Requiem. I went to the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris with a musical historian, and we went to look at the full score of the Fauré Requiem, and this beautiful man from the library came in with these 5 or 6 blue folders, cardboard folders, and he put them down on this desk with a sketchbook. He said, "These are the sketchbooks," and we opened the score, and there inside was, movement by movement, the full score of the Fauré Requiem, with its signed at the beginning. And then when you open it, probably the first thing you see is something he crossed out. Or you saw the very familiar music with suggestions underneath for how he might rethink it. And then you see a page with crossing out, the whole page is crossed out. Now, I'm still a person who writes with pencil and paper. I love it. I love the tactile feel. I've got a fetish about mechanical pencils, so I've got them from all over the world. I love them. And beautiful paper. So the tactile feeling of it, it's part of the process for me. One of the biggest bits of advice I've ever given to composers is get away from the machines. Do it, think it your head, piano if you need, and put your thoughts down on paper, because it makes you think about it in a different way. And I think the machines are wonderful, and everything that music software has done it's been a wonderful gift for composers. But I think it can slightly take away the process of seeing how you've got there. But we don't see that process now. And I think that's a pity, because failure is how you learn. And I've failed a lot.